All right, man. Hey, I just want to say shout out to Kevin Durant, you know what I'm saying? And the Shane Goon dude. Amen. Shout out Amen. Who else? Jabari Smith. Shout out him too. Shit, we got another one, man. Kevin Durant, bro. What you doing? Got Kevin Durant's world is falling apart, bro. Yes, for sure.
I should be able to do that. Being in the league for so long, it's always good to see the ball go through the rim, but we want to be a perfect team.
Stop.
I'm just telling you.
This ain't his account, man. Who talks in the first person on a burner account?
I'm not here to get into Twitter nonsense.
You're not here to get into Twitter nonsense.
The gym
You're
show?
all about Twitter nonsense. My dude, this is what you do. This is who you are. What do you
Damn.
mean you're not here to get into all this
He's
Twitter
trying to tell you
nonsense?
who you
All right, so let's lay out what just happened to Kevin Durant in the last 7 days because it's a lot.
You know,
Since
tell
our
me all.
part 2 video dropped, Draymond Green went on his podcast and
Draymond.
basically said he doesn't know how
thought he
KD
was
walks
injured.
back into that locker room. Devin Booker broke
Yeah,
his
that's
silence
fact.
on the situation and said
He broke?
even if it's true, he doesn't take it too personally, which is not the defense that KD was looking for.
Respectful.
KD's own media company, Boardroom, gutted its entire editorial team days after the burner scandal. And while
They got
KD
it.
went out
Wait.
and dropped 35 points
Wait, hold
on
on, go back.
Charlotte, for KD's own media company, Boardroom, gutted its entire editorial team days after the burner scandal. And
Oh, I
while
don't know what that
KD
means.
went out and
Yeah.
dropped 35 points on
He did drop
Charlotte
that
in what
35.
looked like a statement game, 2 days later, the
did.
Rockets blew an 18-point fourth quarter lead against the Knicks at Madison Square Garden, with
18
Kevin Durant
points.
getting a tech, committing an offensive foul on Jalen Brunson in a tie game, and ironically enough, Jabari Smith Jr. missed a three-pointer that could have changed everything, and Kevin Durant missed a game winner at the buzzer. Somewhere between all of that, Kevin Durant casually told a
was
camera
always in that
this. Like, that's a normal thing to drop in the middle of the biggest controversy of your career. It's almost as if he's trying to garner sympathy and empathy after all this craziness is going down. So, yeah, we need to talk. Because the burner story isn't just a Twitter scandal anymore. It's bleeding onto the court. And after what happened at MSG on Saturday night, the question isn't whether the burner is real. The question is whether this team is falling apart in real time as a result of the burner. We've been making a ton of money on Prize Picks, and I have an excellent play for
So that Prize Picks,
like, more
Just sold
guys
my
are
money, but
already
shut them out
down
though.
below the video.
All right, let's see,
Mic
KD.
check 1212. What's going on, everybody? I'm thinking that this is probably going to be my final video on this topic. So let's start with Draymond Green, because his response was probably the
Okay, this might
most
be the final
significant
one.
reaction
Finale,
we've gotten
y'all.
from anyone in the NBA so far. On
They got
Thursday's
Draymond
episode of
and
the
Pitt.
Draymond Show, Green was asked about the KD
Got
burner
Curry and,
situation.
Clay
And
in the
unlike
back.
most people who've been asked, Draymond actually gave a real answer.
I personally would address it publicly if it's a public thing and it's taken on the life that it's taken, but to each his own. But I'll tell you what, if it is, I don't know how you walk back into practice.
But then Draymond
That's
went
fact.
even further. He said,
I mean, walking back into
But then
practice.
again, Draymond, like if we being real, Draymond, like you did what you did to Jordan Poole, you still walked to the locker room for me. Same thing with KD. So I mean, I don't know. I feel like that's normal in my opinion. Like, I mean, what he said isn't normal if he did say it or not. But I feel like there's always going to be audacity when it comes to people trying to better their teammates, and then people feeling like they're being, targeted for being bad or whatever. So it's like I feel like it's normal because it's like you want to make your teammates better, you want to make your team better so y'all can win. But I feel like with this specific situation, I see what he's talking about, especially with the whole what he said about Devin Booker and
After the break,
then also what he
almost
said
you walk
about
into the
Big Man
locker room,
and
it probably feel like a Key and Peele
Bryson.
sketch. Just like a little awkward. Like, what do you do? What's up, bro? I don't know.
Bro called this a Key and Peele sketch. That's how Draymond Green described the Rockets locker room right now. And honestly, he's probably right. Imagine being Jabari Smith Jr., walking into that building knowing the alleged burner called you a slur and said that you cannot be trusted to make a shot. Imagine being Alperen Şengün, knowing the account said that you can't shoot or defend. And then you have to run a
feel like
pick and roll with the guy who
Jabari Smith low key got worse of his what they said about him was worse.
might have said those things. You have to sit next to him on the bench. You have to celebrate with him after buckets.
But I feel like Şengün was more targeted
That is a Key and Peele
And
sketch for real. And the ironic part about all this is Draymond Green, the man who literally punched Jordan Poole in the face during
That's what I'm
practice,
saying.
is the one saying he doesn't know how KD handles locker room tension. The guy who committed actual physical violence against a teammate is
All right,
looking
come
at the
on, Dirk.
KD situation and saying,
I don't know
Come
how
on,
you
Dirk.
come back from that.
when the most chaotic player in the NBA says your
Better not
situation
show
is
that, bro.
awkward,
Shout out
then
Jordan
you
Poole,
know
though.
it's really bad. But Draymond also gave KD some credit. He didn't say the account was definitely KD's. He framed it as if it is, and he acknowledged that addressing it publicly is a personal decision. But the
That is.
damage was already done, because the headline that went everywhere wasn't the
What's the
caveat.
story?
It was, I don't know. Damage was already done, because the headline that went
See
everywhere
how
wasn't the
he looked nonchalant. Hey, I ain't gonna shout out KD, man. He dealt at these little kids right here, and he looked at her. For me, nice little chill, like, oh, what's up, man? You know,
caveat.
That
It
was-
was,
I-
I
that
don't
was
know
like-
how
that was
you
like-
walk
that-
back
I
into
feel that.
practice. And he makes
That
a
was tough.
really good point here, because this is the element that makes the story 10 times bigger. Let's talk about Devin Booker for a
D-Book.
second, because his response was masterful in a way that probably made KD feel even worse. Remember, the burner called Devin Booker and Frank Vogel
Yeah, I ain't
two
gonna lie, he was
dictators,
wild,
Joseph
bro.
Stalin and Hitler, Mussolini and Kim Jong-un. It said the Suns are my team when we lose and Book's team when we win. That's about as
Nah, he was
disrespectful
fucking
as it
hot.
gets
I ain't gonna lie,
when
he
you're
was fucking
talking about a guy you played with
And I
for
was
two
his
and a half
teammate, bro.
seasons.
There was-
So when
it was
AZ
pretty
Central's
decent
Dwayne
defense,
Rankin
too.
asked Booker about
I
it
don't know,
before
yeah,
the Suns game
tension with
versus the
Devin
San
Booker.
Antonio Spurs 5 days ago, here's what he said. I don't know. I was just with him during All-Star Weekend. Nothing was
Damn.
said about it. You don't know what's true and what's not nowadays. Okay.
Yeah, that's why you gotta watch, like, too, bro. Like, you never know how people really feel.
Okay,
about
let's break that down.
'Cause
Nothing was
if you have to think of it this way: if that never came out, regardless if Katie said it or not, if that never came out and it was actually true, then Devin Booker would have never knew Katie felt that way about him. You feel me? So he's hanging out with him, dapping him up. You know what I'm saying? Maybe took a picture with him or whatever at All-Star Weekend, and the whole time he doesn't even feel like he doesn't even fuck with Devin.
said about it. So
You know?
KD and Booker were at All-Star Weekend together, hanging out, and KD never once brought it
Yeah,
up. He
hanging out.
never pulled Booker aside and said, hey man, that's not me. I would never say that about you.
That's
He
true.
said nothing to Book. If someone compared you to a dictator and it wasn't true, wouldn't the very first thing you do be pulling the guy aside and just clearing the air, saying that this is a bunch of BS on the internet and it's just
But
some
then again,
random
I mean, you can't necessarily say that because he didn't say much about it in general. So it's not even that he didn't say specifically what happened with D-Book. He didn't say much about it in general, like what Draymond said about it being like having it publicly exposed and shit like that.
X-Troll. The fact
feel me?
that KD said nothing to Booker face to
'Cause he
face
didn't really
tells
say
you
anything to
everything about
anybody
this
about it,
situation. But then Booker added this. I don't pay too much attention to it. Even if it's true, I understand there's trolls nowadays. That's what a lot of social media is. It's trolling and a fun time, and I don't take any of it too
I know,
personally.
he's so,
The man
like,
saying
wholesome.
even if it's true, that's not Devin Booker defending Kevin Durant. He's not saying that's not KD or those
He doesn't
screenshots
care.
are fake. He's
But,
saying even if KD
it
did
is what
say
it
those things about me, I don't care. That's not a defense of KD. That's Booker being the bigger man while subtly acknowledging that it probably is KD. Because why
Damn.
would you say even if it's true about something that you genuinely believe is fake? You wouldn't.
I mean, you never
would
know.
just
He's just he's trying to flip the script. He doesn't know if it's him or not, so that's why he's saying if it is. He's not gonna tell him, oh yeah, it is him saying it, even if he doesn't know, because he doesn't know. So he's not gonna say, oh yeah, he said it. You know what I'm saying? So since he said it, I don't care. He's saying even if he did so happen to say it, I mean, it is what it is.
say the whole thing is fake. And here's the beautiful
You know what I'm
part
saying?
for Book. The Suns are thriving without KD.
That's
They
not
moved
cool.
Bradley Beal's contract. They brought in role players who actually fit. And Dylan Brooks was having
Okay,
the
then,
best season of his career.
A
Phoenix
DB?
is 32-23 and looking dangerous. Booker
Nah,
is the
shout out Jalen Green, bro.
undisputed franchise guy again. He doesn't need to go to war over this because his situation speaks for itself. He got compared to a dictator by the guy who left, and his team got better when that guy left. That's the
Damn.
ultimate clapback without saying a word, and it's something that's followed Kevin Durant's entire career. The team that he leaves ends up succeeding without him. Yes, the OKC Thunder went through a rebuild, but they
Nah.
won a championship eventually.
Warriors,
The
too.
Golden State Warriors, the team that he won his 2 rings with, won a championship without him. And even the Phoenix Suns, who were supposed to be in a transition year,
I was just
rebuilding
said that.
after their huge misses on Bradley Beal and Kevin Durant, even they are succeeding without Kevin Durant.
But Jelly Lay,
Now, this is the
Right.
part of the story that shifts from social
Let me
media
try
to
my-
something that actually
let me turn my joint, y'all. Let me turn my joint. Dang. It's getting good, bro. I didn't even think it was like that, bro. I thought they was cool. I don't understand how he was straight up. He seems like such a cool guy, bro. Like, he doesn't have no problem with nobody, bro. You can't tell me the last time Devin Booker got in a fight with somebody.
Actually has real world consequences. People lost their jobs over this because on February 21st, 6 days after the burner leak and 3 days after Kevin Durant said this,
I know you gotta ask these questions, but I'm not here to get into Twitter nonsense.
Boardroom eliminated its full-time editorial team. For those of you guys who don't know, Boardroom is the sports, media, and entertainment brand co-founded by Kevin Durant and his business partner, Rich Kleiman. It operates as a media platform covering the business side of sports through videos, podcasts, and newsletters. It's been a significant part of KD's brand off of the court, and they gutted the entire writing staff. Now, the news was first reported by journalist Philip Lewis, and here's the thing, there is no confirmed connection between the layoffs and the burner scandal. Nobody at Boardroom has said we're cutting staff because of the controversy. Media companies lay off editorial teams all the time. It could just be a cost-cutting move. It could have been planned for months, but the counter-argument to all of this is the timing. You lay off your entire editorial team the same week your burner account scandal is the biggest story in sports, and this isn't just any media company. This is the same company that produced the ESPN show The Boardroom, where KD sat down in 2019 and admitted this on camera.
I wanted a place where I could talk to my friends without anybody just butting in my conversations or mixing my words.
He literally confessed to burners on a show produced by the company that just laid off its writing staff during a burner scandal. The irony is almost poetic. People online immediately started connecting the dots. And look, maybe those dots don't actually connect. Maybe Boardroom was hemorrhaging money and this was inevitable regardless.
I feel like when it's controversy over your name, everybody's gonna turn everything into like a big deal. You know what I'm saying? Like, boom, you had this little conspiracy thing about you having a burner account, and then your media get fired. Oh, it's the media. Feel me? Or Jabari Smith missed a three. Oh, or the Shingun dude gets scored on for game or something. You know what I'm saying? Like, then you'll think, oh yeah, KD was telling the truth. You know what I'm saying? It's like it's always gonna be something like when conspiracy things.
What happened on Twitter, but in the court of public opinion, this looks like a man.
Phone. You feel me? He said he isn't getting Twitter stuff. He's on his phone. Oh, he's on his Twitter right now. You know,
whose world is falling apart. The burner links, the non-denial, former teammates calling him out, and now his own media company is cutting staff while the controversy rages. Whether it's related or not, the optics are terrible. And remember what we said in part 2. KD's 2019 admission about using burners happened in an interview produced through Boardroom. That interview is one of the key pieces of evidence people use to justify believing the current burner is his. So the company that inadvertently helped prove KD uses burners is now downsizing during the fallout of the latest burner getting exposed. You could not write a more ironic storyline if you tried. But here's where the story takes a complete turn, because KD went out and played the Charlotte game. Remember, Charlotte was the team that his burner said has better young players than Houston, and he dropped 35 points on 70% shooting. Jabari Smith Jr. went 6 for 8. It looked like a revenge game for both of them. And then 2 days later at Madison Square Garden, everything fell apart. That 18-point collapse is coming up. Before we get to the Knicks disaster, we gotta talk about Charlotte, because the Rockets' first game back after the All-Star break was against the Hornets. And if you've been following this story, you know exactly why that's significant. The burner account said that the Hornets have better young players than the Rockets. The burner said KD would be better off in Charlotte, and 10 days before the leak, KD was caught on camera screaming at Shingun during a loss to the Hornets. So this game had layers on top of layers, and KD came out and absolutely demolished Charlotte. 35 points, 14 of 20 from the field. That's 70% shooting. 8 rebounds, 4 assists, 3 blocks, just 1 turnover. It was one of his most efficient games of the entire season. On a night where every camera was watching his body language, every analyst was looking for cracks, KD went out and played like a man possessed against the exact team.
I feel like this is a way of like KD getting his like his name back in the situation. You know what I'm saying? Before he retires. You feel me? Getting like a big everybody on him. Oh, feel me? Because you know how people say, oh, KD's not top 10 all time, all that stuff. So him having this whole situation, it brings light to him, and it also allows him to you feel me, show out for the next couple of years. He's in the NBA, so in that way he can end up, feel me, getting into that
his
argument
burner
of being
said
top
was
10.
better than his own. And Jabari Smith Jr., the guy the burner called a slur and said couldn't be trusted to make a shot, went out and shot 6 of 8 from the field for 15 points. That's 75% shooting from a kid who was publicly humiliated by the league. Whether it was revenge, motivation, or just a good night, Jabari played like he had something to
I
prove.
feel like now, Jabari and Şengün, they're gonna feel, okay, bet this is what's going on. People are gonna say, oh yeah, KD said this, KD didn't. Now I gotta show out for me. That's how I feel. I wouldn't be surprised if the Rockets made it to the finals, bro.
And he proved it. But here's where it gets interesting. Alperen Şengün's line tells a completely different story. He had 13 points on 6 of 16 shooting with just 2 rebounds. For a guy averaging over 20 points and 9 boards per game, that's well below his standard. He shot 37.5% from the field and only 2 rebounds for a franchise center. The burner said Şengün can't shoot or defend. And against Charlotte, the shooting numbers back that up. He did dish 7 assists, but the shooting and rebounding were very rough. So you had KD and Jabari looking like they were playing angry, motivated, and determined. And Şengün still.
It just depends on your positioning with rebounding. Because when I was a center, and when I used to play rec basketball, it's different because it was like, okay, it's just the center is expected to get the rebounds. You know what I'm saying? But now it's like in the NBA, anybody can get a rebound. You feel me? So it just depends on where you're at when the ball is. Like, if he's at the 3, he's not going to get the rebound. So I'm saying, like, if he shoots a lot of shots and he misses a lot of shots, then he's not going to get the rebound. You feel me? If he shoots 16 threes, there's no way he's going to get a lot of rebounds out of that unless they just come right back to him. You feel me? Now, as for defensive rebounds, it's different. You feel me? But it just depends, because if he's a stretch shooter and he shoots threes or something like that, he's not going to be in the paint to get the rebound. And you have to realize, I don't even think the Rockets, well, they have Clint Capella. I don't know who their other center is, but nobody else was going to get the rebound. I mean, KD, I don't really think he'd be in the paint like that to get the rebound. So
looking like the player that the burner described. The Rockets won 105 to 101, which was great. But if you looked closely, the same dynamics the burner complained about were playing out in real time. KD carried the scoring, Jabari showed up, and Şengün was inconsistent. After the game, it felt like maybe this team had turned a corner. Maybe the Instagram damage control had worked. Maybe they really were locked in like KD said. And then they went to New York. Saturday night, Madison Square Garden, national television, fresh off of the Charlotte revenge game. Houston was rolling, and for 3 quarters, they were dominant. The Rockets trailed by 13 in the first half, but ripped off a 72-41 run over the next 24 minutes. They took
the trail by 13 points in the second quarter before outscoring the Knicks 72-41.
A commanding 93-70.
Taking a lead 93-75 on a layup with
5 lead when Dorian Finney-Smith hit a layup with 10 minutes and 53 seconds left in the game. 18 points up with less than 11 minutes to play. This game was over. The Rockets were about to win their 6th in a row and prove that the burner drama was behind them. And then the wheels came off completely. The Knicks outscored the Rockets 33-13 over the final 10 minutes. Houston shot 4 of 15 down the stretch. They committed 9 turnovers in the 4th quarter alone. 20 total for the game. For context, the Knicks only had 12 turnovers all night. Houston gave the ball away almost twice as much as New York. KD finished with 30 points, which sounds fine until you look at how he got there. He shot 10 of 26 from the field, 38.5%. That's 26 shots. For a guy who shot 70% 2 days earlier against Charlotte, going 38% from the field is a massive drop-off. And in the 4th quarter specifically, KD scored just 5 points on 2 of 6 shooting. 3 of those points came on a desperation three-pointer with 2.4 seconds left that was too little, too late. But it's how those final minutes played out that really tells the story. The Knicks went on a 14-2 run, capped by a cat layup that cut the lead to 99-97 with 3 minutes and 32 seconds left. Jalen Brunson, who had just 2 points at halftime, scored 18 of his 20 points in the second half, including 8 in the final 4 minutes and 40 seconds. Brunson was cooking the Rockets when it mattered the most. And then came the plays that are going to haunt KD. With the game tied at 103 with 1 minute and 26 seconds left, Brunson hit a pull-up jumper to give the Knicks their first lead since the first half. On the next possession, KD lost the ball out of bounds. Just flat out lost it. Then on the following possession, he plowed into Jalen Brunson and got called for an offensive foul with 48.4 seconds left. That's your franchise player, your $45 million man, the man who's supposed to be the steadiest hand in the building, and he's committing an offensive foul in a 1-possession game. Oh, and he picked up a technical foul early earlier in the game. So KD
Damn.
had a tech and an offensive foul and turnovers in a game where his team blew an 18-point lead on national television. That's not leadership. That's a guy who's pressing, a guy whose frustrations are boiling over. And after everything that's happened this week, the burner, the Draymond comments, the boardroom layoffs, can you really blame the guy? After the offensive foul, Brunson drained a fall-away jumper. KD then
I
missed
don't
an
think they have no defense. So like,
really blame the guy.
I like
After
the last couple of Brunson points was literally just easy ass
offensive
points,
foul,
bro.
Brunson drained a
Like what? This dude didn't even try.
fall-away jumper.
Like, do
KD
anything.
then missed an 18-footer. Jabari Smith, who had 21 points on the night,
That's why you gotta be humble, bro. Even if you win it by a lot of points, but the game is not over, bro.
and was one of the best players on the court, misfired on a
y'all were really
three-pointer that
outscoring
could
these
have
by
tied or
30
taken
something
the
points,
lead.
bro.
Kind of like what the burner suggested. KD can't trust Jabari Smith Jr. to make a shot when it matters most.
But
OG
then again, it's
Anunoby
like
hit
it just depends on who you get the ball to. If you say you can't rely on him, why give him the ball to score? In a, you know what I'm saying? You got to think of that type of stuff, bro. If you don't rely on this dude to shoot, why would you give him the ball? Even here, even if he was like, if y'all rely on him to shoot or not, who y'all give the ball to in the last couple of seconds is depending on y'all. So if y'all get the ball to Jabari Smith, Clint Capella, whatever, instead of KD, you have to just look at your team. I mean, yeah, KD's probably gonna get double teamed, but it's like, bro, look at who's in. You also look at the coach too. Look who's in the game right now. Come on, bro. You don't got who else they start? I thought they missed somebody. Şengün. He could shoot more than Clint Capella. You feel me? I mean, I don't know if y'all want Şengün
free
to
throws
shoot the
with
game
5
winning
points.
shot, but I mean, who else is gonna shoot it? Don't they have number 6 Shepard or something? I think Why is he not in the game? That's the coach fault too, bro.
4 seconds left. KD hit a
I got
desperation
KD. Oh no, they do have. Oh, never mind. That's me. That's me.
three
That's
to make
me.
it
But you could hit Shepard.
107 to 106. But after a Landry Shamet
Oh, no.
free throw, KD's half-court heave at the buzzer missed. Game over. Knicks 108, Rockets
That nigga
106.
just
The
bullshit.
5-game winning streak was done. The narrative that
And it
the
was on
burner
fire.
drama was behind them was also done. And the Charlotte revenge game confidence was all gone in one quarter. And for the Knicks, Jose Alvarado had 5 steals. OG Anunoby had 4 steals. The Knicks forced 20 turnovers and scored 30 points off of those turnovers.
Damn.
Houston wasn't just beaten.
I mean,
they were
but that's normal though. I'm gonna be honest. Like, when after how many turnovers they had, but scoring that many points off turnovers is normal because niggas don't play defense. Like I ain't gonna lie. If we did a survey on how many people play defense after a turnover, it's probably like out of 100, like a percentage of who actually plays defense, probably like 2. Because I ain't gonna lie, people do not. If they get the ball turnover and it's a fast break, they just let them score and they just run down. They're really only running down the court right now to pass the ball. That we're being real. Like, he needs somebody to pass the ball in. So whoever's passing the ball in, he needs somebody to pass the ball to.
Battled. A team with 20
that's it.
turnovers isn't a team that's locked
Last time
in.
they got
That's a
injured, though.
team that's distracted, sloppy, and coming undone at the worst possible moment.
Then again, you
Now,
don't see
here's what
something
makes
in the
this
game.
collapse so devastating for the burner narrative. Remember what Jabari and Şengün did in this game compared to what the burners said about them. And remember, KD hinted that he's got one more season in him. If this is how it ends, what does that mean for the
Damn.
Rockets? Well, let's get into it. Here's the uncomfortable truth about the New York Knicks loss. When you look at the box scores from both the Charlotte game and the Knicks game, and then you go back and read what the burner said about KD's teammates, the burner was kind of
Yeah,
right.
fuck
This game,
you,
and then you go back and
You a
read what
grown ass
the
man.
burner said about KD's teammates.
Like, the first layup is kind of bad, but it's like it's normal. I feel like. But the
The burner
putback
was kind of
layup,
right, and that's the
You
problem.
gotta make that.
Let's start with Jabari Smith Jr. The burner said he can't trust Jabari Smith to make a shot. In Charlotte, Jabari went 6 of 8 and looked great. In New York, Jabari scored 21 points. Solid. But when the game was on the line, when the Rockets needed a basket to tie or win, Jabari missed a 3-pointer. In the biggest moment of the night, the criticism from the burner came true. Now, does one missed shot define a player?
That's what I'm saying,
Absolutely not.
they're
Jabari
gonna
played
make
well
every shot,
overall,
but-
but the optics of him missing the
But that's
clutch
what I said earlier. It's depending on who you give the ball to. If you give the ball to him in the last couple moments and you said he can't score, cool. Why would you give him the ball? And why is he on the bench? Why is he on the bench? Yeah, see, that's what I'm saying, bro. It's like you have to realize you already putting extra pressure on him with the whole situation, but putting him on the bench makes him have less confidence. That's also what it is too. With this whole situation, is giving these 2 players less confidence because they feel like, oh damn, I can't shoot. You know what I'm saying? I suck. You know what I'm saying? So now it's like, okay, boom, I gotta make this shot, prove everybody wrong. it makes him more nervous now. You feel me? It looks
player?
like with
Absolutely
the shot
not. Jabari
that he
played
didn't
well
hesitate.
overall,
You
but
know
the
what I'm saying?
optics of him
Boy, yo, I ain't gonna lie, I've seen the best. Yo, nah, I ain't gonna lie.
shot define a
He
player?
hesitated here.
Absolutely
Look.
not. Jabari played
Look.
well overall, but the optics of him missing the clutch
Wait,
shot after
am I tripping?
absolutely not. Jabari played well overall, but the optics of him missing
like,
the clutch
like,
shot
he
after
did
the
this
burner
little bit and
questioned
shot.
his clutch
That's what I'm
ability,
saying. He got scared.
that's going to stick. Then there's
That's what I'm trying to
Şengün. The
tell
burner
y'all.
said the franchise player can't shoot or defend. In Charlotte, 13 points on 6 of 16. That's 37.5%,
Yeah,
and only 2 rebounds. In New
But like
York,
I said with the rebounds, I mean, if you shoot three, he's not gonna get the board. That's
16
realistic.
points, which is below his 20.5 per game average. Over both post-break games, Şengün hasn't looked like an all-star. He's looked like the player that the burner described. And Ime Udoka
that's
himself
fading
confirmed
shit, his
before
ass.
the break that teams have been hunting Şengün on defense all season long.
It's been the case since
Hey,
I've been here, so no different there.
So
And you
even
didn't change. This is also coaching. Even if you know he can't play defense, why is he starting? You feel me? It's like it's discipline, bro. If you know he can't play defense, you know KD may have possibly said he can't play defense, he can't shoot. You have to, and you see that already, even before they said that. You have to do something about that as a coach. You can't allow people to talk bad about your franchise player, whatever, and he's not doing right, and you still have him playing.
the coaching
Feel me?
staff sees the same issue the burner was venting
Like, it's
about.
not
And then there's
realistic,
Kevin
bro.
Durant himself. The burner blamed his turnovers on the team, saying his teammates are the bigger problem. But against the Knicks, KD had 4 turnovers, an offensive foul,
Yeah,
a
no,
technical
those
foul,
turnovers
and
was
shot 38.5%. In the fourth quarter of an 18-point
But you
collapse,
can't really say much about how many shots they made out of how many shots they shot, because KD is supposed to shoot a lot of shots. So if he misses a couple, even if he misses like 10 to 15, that's somewhat normal. You know what I'm saying? Like him shooting 70%, that's not gonna happen every single game. No player shoots 70% every single game. You feel me? So I
the
mean,
leader of this team scored
or at least like a super
5 points and couldn't hold the ball. So while
yeah,
the
his
burner
turnovers
was
was his
busy
fault,
pointing
though.
fingers at everyone
Jabbar
else,
looked like he
KD's
kinda
own
hesitated.
game fell apart when it mattered the most. This is the dynamic that makes the burner scandal so
I mean, yeah,
toxic
like,
for this
even
team.
then,
It
KD
doesn't
can't-
matter if the account is
also
KD's or
has
not anymore. What
first
matters
runners
is
too.
that the
You feel
burner's
me?
analysis, Şengün is inconsistent.
Because I feel
Jabbar
like if this whole situation never happened, KD would have made those shots. Jabbar probably would have made those shots too. Şengün would have been in the game. He wouldn't have been on the bench.
can't be trusted in the clutch.
Because I
KD
feel
is
like
frustrated.
Şengün, I mean, y'all can say, no, I feel like Clint Capella has good defense, but offensive-wise, Clint Capella is not really going to score as much. Back when he used to play with Chris Paul and he used to catch lobs and shit every play, maybe. But now, I mean, Clint Capella, he can't really shoot. Like, I mean, he can get some rebounds, so I give him that. He can definitely get some rebounds. He got some good defense, but I feel like you got to have, like, I don't know. I just feel like they should have hit Shepard. In my
Is
personal
being
opinion.
validated
Good ass me.
on the court
I feel like
in
Shepard
real
should've got the
time.
ball.
Every bad Şengün shooting night, every Jabari
Yeah, I
Smith
ain't care
Jr.
about
missed
Shepard.
shot in a big moment, every Kevin Durant turnover in crunch time, it
But yeah,
all
those
feeds
those
back
turnovers
to
was
the
kinda bad.
narrative that the burner created. And that's going to follow this team for the rest of the season. Now, let's talk about the elephant in the room, because in the
But yeah, he
middle of
said he's gonna
everything,
have
the
one more
burner,
year.
the Draymond Green podcast, the boardroom layoffs, the Knicks collapse, KD dropped a retirement hint that flew under the radar. Now, I don't know if he did this to garner some
don't think
empathy
he is.
so people could feel nostalgic about missing Kevin Durant once he retires and appreciating his greatness, because I'm sure you've all seen
probably
comments
just
about
wanted to get
LeBron
something
James
out.
that go by that.
Yeah.
Appreciate the greatness while it's here. Well, a clip started circulating showing by that. Appreciate
Greatness appreciated.
the greatness while it's here. Well, a clip started
Well, huh.
circulating showing Kevin Durant telling someone on camera that he's got about one more season left in him.
You gotta do one more season.
So think about the implications here.
I don't
Think
know, he probably
about
just
what
tried to
that
get
means
his,
in
like,
context.
I think what he was trying to do was he was trying to get people's heads off of the whole situation.
KD signed a
I feel like he'll
$90
probably
million
play at least 1 or
extension
2
with the
more
Rockets in October of
I don't think he's only gonna play
2025. The whole point
Especially
was
if they don't get nowhere this season, he probably might play one more year. But then again, I mean, with all the controversy, he might just let it be.
long-term commitment.
Just let it go.
Houston
Just
traded
out.
away real assets to build
And just
around him.
leave.
They structured
And I
their
feel like
roster
if he leaves, they might actually see that he was right. Like that'll probably be the end goal.
around him
They'll see
mentoring
he
the
actually
young
is
core.
right, and
And
they
now,
don't actually
4
play
months
defense
into that
well.
extension, he's
they
casually
need
telling
him.
a camera he might be
Well, I mean,
done
like I
after
said, I
next
mean, there were
year.
seasons
If
last
KD retires after
teams
the
that used to play for
2026
that
to
got
27
better.
season,
Yeah.
that means Houston traded Jalen Green, Dylan Brooks, and a first-round pick, paid Kevin Durant Durant over $100 million
that's
and
crazy.
got maybe 2 seasons out of him with 0 championships to show for it. That's not mentorship. That's just a brief
That's
rental.
crazy how they
And
traded
here's the darker
Jalen
reading.
Green
I
and
personally
Dylan Brooks for
think
KD.
the Kevin Durant retirement hint is just to garner empathy.
I just
In the
like
middle of the
players-
worst PR week of his career, the
Crazy.
one more season comment
For one
is
person.
designed to make
And
people
it's-
feel
and they're
bad for
drafting-
him, to shift the narrative from KD is trashing his teammates on burners to KD is tired, he's 37, he's winding down, let the
Damn.
man live. Look, it could be completely genuine. The man has played 19 years in the league. His
That's what I'm
body
saying,
has taken a beating, and retirement is a
Like
perfectly
that's why I say you
reasonable
can't say too much about
conversation at
KD
his age.
missing it, and like he's still, even if he missed a couple of shots in crunch time, he's still a generational player, my nigga. So you can't really say nothing about that. Bro. There's plenty of players that have, for me, like Curry, Kyrie, all them players they've missed in, for me, big time situations, bro. It's a regular season game. If we're being real, it's really not even necessarily specifically someone's fault. And I always look at it like this: if y'all win by a lot and y'all lose, it's ego. Y'all was getting too hyper. Look how happy these dudes look right now. You're getting too hyper, you feel me, and you allowed y'all team to lose. You feel me? Because it looked like they had their starters in the whole game, so they can't say it was a bench or none of that. I feel like at some point, yeah, it's just about your team. Bro.
But the timing of
It's
it
not just
during
a
the
specific
burner
person.
fallout,
Because he
it's
wasn't
hard
the only
not
person
to
that had
wonder
turnovers,
what
the only
he's
person
doing
that missed,
here.
etc.
Either
Okay.
way, this changes the math for the Rockets. If you're Houston's front office and your franchise player is publicly hinting at retirement, privately, allegedly trashing your young core on burner accounts and melting down in fourth quarters at Madison Square Garden, do you still believe this is your championship window, or do you start planning for life after Kevin Durant right now? Let's
Damn.
take a step back, because this clearly isn't
Life
just
after
about
Kevin
the
Durant,
burner
you're not
anymore.
even in the
This is
playoffs.
about whether the Houston Rockets, a
It's not
legitimate
even
Western
towards the end of
Conference
the season.
contender, are falling apart from the inside out. The numbers tell a story. Houston came into the All-Star break at 33-20, fourth in the West. They beat Charlotte. Then they went to New York and blew an 18-point lead in the fourth quarter. They're now 35-21, and they're 11-9 over their last 20 games, barely over 500. This isn't a team that's playing championship-level basketball right now, and the collapse against the Knicks was the most visible example of a team that's
Yeah.
struggling to hold it together.
just depends
And look at
on,
how they
like, what
lost.
team they
20
play.
turnovers, outscored 33-15
20
in the
turnovers
fourth
is
quarter.
crazy.
30 points given up off of turnovers. Houston
one
missed
quarter,
8 consecutive shots during one stretch. The Knicks posting and toasting preview had a line that was almost prophetic. Unfortunately,
Is that
the
Josh
Knicks
Hart?
have as many personalities as KD has burner accounts, and you never know which version of the team to expect. They wrote that before the game, and it turned out to be the Rockets who showed multiple personalities. Dominant for 3 quarters, then completely unrecognizable in the fourth. Championship teams
get
don't
nervous?
blow 18-point leads in the fourth
What
quarter.
does that say?
Recognized
Rockets in the top position, but well shy of the Western Conference League teams, with 8 games between them in the first place.
in the fourth. Championship teams don't blow 18-point leads in the
Oh,
fourth
no, they
quarter.
might not make it,
Championship teams don't
Unless
commit
everybody's
20
back.
turnovers. Championship teams don't have their franchise player getting tech fouls and offensive fouls in crunch time. And championship teams definitely don't have an ongoing
offensive fouls is like iffy. Like that charge, like you can't really control that, but technical fouls, yeah.
burner account scandal
But you
where the
can't really
leader is
control
allegedly
the foul
trashing his
shot.
own teammates in group
That's
chats
what's
while the
ridiculous.
team falls apart on national TV. Look, I've now made 3 videos about Kevin Durant's burner account, and I know what some of you guys are thinking.
Mike, let it go. This story's past. Enough of this nonsense.
But here's the thing, the
Just
story
gotta do
keeps
shit. You gotta
getting
get money
bigger
stuff, bro.
and the consequences keep getting realer.
Hey, don't listen
In
to
part
these people,
1,
bro.
we broke
If
down
you
the
need to
leak
keep
and the
making more,
evidence. That was the social
you're gonna
media
get,
drama.
man. Do
In
what you
part
gotta
2,
do.
we covered Kevin Durant's
Yeah, man.
non-denial, the media
Do
split,
what
and the
you gotta
Instagram
do,
damage
bro.
control. That was locker room drama. And now in part 3, we've got former teammates publicly questioning how KD walks back into practice. We've got the guy he
What's
compared to a
former
dictator
teammates?
saying, even if it's true,
It's not a
I
joke,
don't
bro.
really care. We've got his media company laying off his entire editorial staff. We've got an 18-point
Damn, that's a lot
collapse
of
at
people.
Madison Square Garden on national TV, and we've got Kevin Durant hinting at retirement.
Hey.
This isn't Twitter nonsense anymore. This is real life. The burner said that Şengün can't shoot or defend, and over 2 post-break games, Şengün shot a combined 20 of 32 from the field. That's 37.5%. The burner said
Well,
it can't trust Jabari in big moments, and Jabari missed a
I mean, I don't say
potential
that's good.
game-tying 3 at the buzzer in
You
New
can't
York.
expect people
The
to make that
burner
many
said
shots,
KD
bro.
carries the
Y'all,
team, and in the
y'all be having too high hopes of these NBA players, bro. Not everybody is just gonna make every single shot, bro. Like, you feel me? Like it's it just gets to a
fourth
point,
quarter
bro.
against the Knicks,
Because I
KD
feel like if y'all were in the same position Şengün was in, where it's people talking crazy about him, you feel me? Yo, I ain't gonna lie, shout out Brunson though. But if it's people talking crazy about him and shit, it's like, bro, what do you want him to do? Like, he already has people talking crazy about him. You feel me? He probably already stresses like just being in the NBA in general. Watching him and stuff like that, you know. So
He
it's like
had
you gotta
turnovers,
like,
a
come on,
tech,
bro.
an offensive
How
foul,
many
and
points you
just
gonna
5
score?
points on 2 of 6 shooting. Whether the account is his or not, the frustrations described in those group
5
chats are
points.
now playing out on the court for
Wait,
the
what?
a tech, an offensive foul, and just 5 points on 2 of 6 shooting. Whether the account is his or not,
This
the
is in the
frustrations described in those group chats are now playing out on
he
the
only had
court for
5
the
points all
entire
game.
world to see.
I ain't
And
gonna
those
shout out this
described
nigga
in
too.
those group chats are now playing
this
out
nigga.
on the court for
Playing
the
at the Kogi's
entire
house.
world to see. And that's what makes this story so fascinating. It's not just about who runs a Twitter account. It's about a team that looks like it's fracturing under the weight of a controversy that the leader either caused or refuses to address. This video was made before the Houston Rockets faced off against the Utah Jazz, and it wouldn't shock me if Houston dominates against a team that just got fined $500,000 for clearly intentionally trying to tank.
What that mean?
But I have to ask a question. Kevin Durant was initially brought in to mentor this young Houston Rockets core, a team that finished second in the Western Conference last year, a team that just needed one go-to scorer to make buckets in crunch time last year, a team that just needed one go-to scorer to make buckets in crunch time last year. But after everything that's happened, we have to ask the question, is Kevin Durant truly the leader that this young Houston Rockets core needs? If this is your first time seeing one of my videos, make sure you're...
All right, man. Shout out KD, man. Shout out to Şengün, dude. My boy Jabari, my boy KD. Who else? Devin Booker. The coach, Kyrie. You know what I'm saying? All the amazing NBA players are out there having a great day. Shout out my boy Draymond too. Key and Peel. That's you on this. Key? Who's Key? Alright, well shout out y'all people, man. We got a couple more videos today. Love y'all. That's it.